What's up? This is Tropical Polar Bears podcast. I'm Luke Russell.
And I'm Jack Stevenson.
Welcome to the show. So I'm just adjusting my fan at the moment. So today we're going to be rating Star Wars films. We did Leonardo DiCaprio films last week. We're doing a lot of films at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll mix it up in like some later weeks, but at the minute, film ones seem to be the ones we've both seen. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially with franchises, we can find.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the ideas that were.
Hang on, you're lagging
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the ideas that we're coming out with at the moment just happen to be film related.
Yeah. Right, should we get this underway?
Yeah, my internet connection is a little bit iffy, so it keeps like, if there's a bit of a pause between us, it's just because we're both on Virgin Media, and Virgin Media is not good today. So there's like I think there's a little bit of a delay. But all right, so we're gonna do them in reverse order of the trilogies. And then I believe I've set it so that Solo and Rogue One will be the last ones we do.
Yeah.
So, reverse order, we're doing in order of release. So, instead of doing the latest trilogy, then the original trilogy, then prequels, I believe I've done it in the order of the newest trilogy, prequels, originals, and then the standalones, which are Rogue One and Solo.
Yeah.
So, there's 11. So... yeah, nice and easy. We've not got to worry about too many. But we're starting with Rise of Skywalker, which was the latest one to come out. How did you feel about it, Jack?
I thought, considering the film before it was so trash, like they did an alright job of like rectifying the situation, but like I don't know, it didn't do it for me necessarily, but. I get why.
I don't.
I have more sympathy for that film.
I don't think that I've ever been so angry watching a film. Like, I don't know why, but the film just kept annoying me. Like they kept backing out of killing people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I hate it.
They kept backing out of killing people and. Like, if it's the finale of the Skywalker saga and everything, kill who you like. Do you know what I mean? It's the end. Like, you don't have to worry about bringing the character back. Finn could have died in the first one, could have died in the second one, but he survived both instances, and then he goes through to this one. But I think that I've only seen Rise of Skywalker once. There's a chance it could grow on me if I watched it a second time.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it was really forgetful. Like, it was really easy to forget about it.
Yeah, I didn't like some of the aspects in it, like the force heal ability. I thought was a bit too.
Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're at least having that in it, there should be some negative side effects. Like maybe inflicts the damage onto you rather than the person you're saving or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Like, what is it? Is it Paul?
Yeah,
the Alien film.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's Paul, isn't it?
Because it would make it.
Yeah, like Paul, where he.
Yeah, 100%. Because it then have a reason not to use it. Like the problem is with that, it's like you're just going to use it at any opportunity if you can use it. You know what I mean? And then like. The weird.
If there's no consequences, then yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the idea of like these powers being so powerful that it actually could be damaging to you.
Yeah.
And then
I agree with you.
What was the other one? It was the key. You know, the little knife thing where it's like pointing the location of one of the cubes or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
It was just very like poorly written, like this random key that you have to stand in the most specific location, a spaceship that crashed like 10 years ago somehow holds this magical box that you've been looking for. Do you know what I mean? And it's the command room of the Death Star.
Yeah, I get you.
Like if you're gonna fucking look for it, you're gonna look first at the command room anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the first place.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But I mean, other than that,
on the positive side, I am happy that they at least gave us some kind of explanation for who Snoke was.
Yeah. I mean, I think they chickened out a bit.
Where he came from,
they played it very safe. But that's because the last film ruined the whole thing so much. It's like they had no option but to do like the safest option just so it doesn't ruin it anymore. Yeah. But I think
where would you put Rise of Skywalker on this list then?
I'd put it 10.
10. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with you. I think that with Star Wars we're gonna have similar opinions.
Yeah, 100%.
Alright, Last Jedi, which I didn't enjoy it when I first saw it. I've rewatched it a couple times, to be fair, and I think that if you just take it for what it is and try not, like, if you forget that you're a Star Wars fan and you watch it, you'll probably enjoy it. I think that's the issue. I think that if you've grown up watching the Star Wars films,
the problem is,
but that's the thing. I feel like casual fans love it, or at least like it. Like people who, I don't know, like bear in mind, there's definitely going to have been kids where The Force Awakens was the first Star Wars film that they saw.
Oh yeah, 100%. The thing is,
those people probably thought it was all right.
Like in a few years, people will probably be going on about like how it's their generation's film, you know what I mean? But like personally, I thought there was just a bit too much shit in it. Like they set up all this stuff and then they kind of tore it down and made the whole thing pointless. Luke's death at the end annoys me because you know he projects a Force ghost and then dies. Well, no, then it turns out it's a ghost and then he dies anyway. I was like, why would you not just have him in that situation to die? Like, do you get what I mean? It just seemed like a fake out.
I think it was a matter of him going by his own means, kind of like how old Ben Kenobi, kind of how he did it. I
suppose, but like if he did it the way Ben Kenobi did it and died like on the spot, kind of thing. Yeah. I just don't see the point in faking out a death and then killing him anyway. Do you know what I mean? And
well, that's the thing, because anyone that was there is like, oh yes, Luke Skywalker has survived this. This is great. He wasn't here in the first place. And then imagine going home to getting a phone call like, oh no, it turns out he died anyway, just on that other planet. You'd be like, what? And why didn't he just rock up in the first place properly?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he may as well have done the showdown properly.
I get you.
And then Finn's story
the lightsaber battle annoyed me in this film.
Yeah. I thought Finn and Poe's storyline, you could take it out and it would probably improve the movie. It was so pointless. I put that one at 11.
I think the movie would have improved if Finn actually died.
Yeah.
You know, when she saves him, doesn't she?
But his whole story
I think it
arc
actually would have improved a bit if they'd killed him.
The whole story arc affected nothing though. Like they just went to a casino to get like some geezer and then got captured. Do you know what I mean? And then escaped. Like nothing actually came of what they did. So it annoyed me with that. But I'd put that one.
The whole film they're on the run, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you would put it worse.
Yeah, but I don't know what you'd say. I don't know if you enjoyed that.
I can't think. For me, I would maybe swap them round, but I guess it would depend on the mood that I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, The Last Jedi annoyed me for longer. But The Rise of Skywalker was more of an annoying experience when I was watching the film.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when The Last Jedi came out, for weeks and weeks I was talking to people about how much it annoyed me. Whereas with The Rise of Skywalker, I kind of just spoke about it for half an hour afterwards, and then I was just like, just accept it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, just accept it for what it is, leave it be, and yeah. But what about Force Awakens? Because I actually think that The Force Awakens was a strong start to the new trilogy.
It was weak in areas, but like it wasn't a bad film. Do you know what I mean? It just wasn't very original. Like
It was definitely the best of the three, though.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
I wouldn't put it 9. I wouldn't put it 9 for me. I think there's worse. There's probably worse films than Force Awakens. Force Awakens is actually quite enjoyable to watch. I can rewatch Force Awakens and enjoy it.
Like, I'd say the only bad thing is really the fact that Rey's just got these mad powers with no explanation.
Yeah.
And then...
but I'm not a big fan of her character.
And then the just kind of like similarities with the A New Hope. But like...
Yeah.
Like, if you ignore that, like, it's an alright film. I just don't feel it wouldn't climb up high because of the lack of like original ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could never put it higher than some of the earlier films.
I would put it probably 8.
8 for now, yeah.
Because I do think that there's. Yeah, I would probably put it as 8.
Mm.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I mean, we'll discuss later. Do you know what I mean? Like, there might be one I think should be 8 and push it back down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But
all right, The Revenge of the Sith.
Banging film.
Revenge of the Sith.
The script is like the worst script ever, but
Yeah,
it's like the most memeable movie ever. And
And something you've got to take into account: the lightsaber fights in this film are mad.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that there's a single lightsaber fight that's bad in this film. Like the lightsaber fight, like the choreography for this film is better than any of the new trilogy. I don't think that there was any really decent lightsaber fights in the new trilogy.
See, because
everyone's a noob. Think about it. Now that I think about it, everyone's a noob.
Yeah.
You never actually. I've never thought of this, but you never actually see Luke Skywalker in the new trilogy use his lightsaber, do you?
Only against Vader, really.
No, in the new trilogy.
Oh wait, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So you never see him use his lightsaber. So anyone on the good side is a noob.
Yeah.
Because it's just Rey and Finn.
Yeah.
And then they're against Kylo Ren. So, but somehow Finn holds his own against him for a bit. And then Rey holds her own against him, which doesn't really make sense. He should slaughter them both without an issue.
Oh yeah. That was a massive issue with them films.
You never actually got a decent lightsaber fight. Whereas in the prequels, I would argue that the Revenge of the Sith has the best lightsaber fights in all of the Star Wars films.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
100%.
I think the only thing that's bad about this film is the script. But when rewatching it recently, I thought it was clear he was trying to go for like almost Shakespeare type writing, but just didn't execute it too well. Do you know what I mean? I see what he was trying to do, but
yeah, I think they did a good job though of tying it into A New Hope.
Yeah,
but I do think that they tied it in quite well because there's not really anything at the end of Revenge of the Sith where you're like, oh, but what happened to this? How did this happen? What about this? Like anything that's at the start of A New Hope or that is meant to come from Revenge of the Sith, I think lines up. There's not really, they didn't really leave like plot holes and stuff to me. But yeah, I mean, I think the Solo, the only thing I could think of is when Chewbacca's in it. In Revenge of the Sith, you kind of want to know what happened to Chewbacca. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you find out what happened to Chewbacca in Solo. So Solo kind of rectified that. But where would you say Revenge of the Sith sits for you?
2.
Whoa, what?
Number 2. Bro, this is like our like generation's defining film, man. Literally, every time I'm on like TikTok or Facebook, all I see is memes from this film. Do you know what I mean? That's how much of an impact this film had.
Oh, I'll put it... Yeah, no, I get you. Like, how many times in a month do you reckon you say, It's over, Anakin. I have the higher ground.
About 10. Do you know what I mean? But it's like,
or not even that. Like, hello there. That's just another one, isn't it? That like you'll say constantly.
Yeah, it's the most quoted thing in our house for sure. So, for me,
well, I'd put it in 2, but I think it might go down to 3. I think there's a chance it's going to go down to 3. I think by the end of this, it could even be 4. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Attack of the Clones.
Probably the worst dialogue out of the 3, I think. I don't think Phantom Menace was that bad. It was more this one was the worst. But at the same time, it had like the sick action sequences and everything. I'd probably put about 5 or 6.
Around 6, so in the middle. Yeah, I mean, I can see it being in the middle. Well, we're about to do Phantom Menace, but I don't know if I'd say it's worse than Phantom Menace. The thing is with the Phantom Menace, it's like, I don't know, like half the film is alright. Do you know what I mean? Anything to do with Darth Maul is sick. Anything to do with Darth Maul is sick. I really like the pod racing sequence. I like the whole pod racing thing. I really enjoy the pod racing sequence, like the actual race itself. I enjoy that. But there's just a lot of stuff in between that that's like, like Jar Jar Binks, like proper winds me up. Like, and when I was a kid, I thought Jar Jar Binks was funny. And this is the film, like, I think this is the first Star Wars film that I'd seen. I think. Or it's the first Star Wars film that I remember seeing. I know I was watching Star Wars from quite a young age. Because we would go to my nan's quite a bit. And my uncle was still living with my nan at that point.
Yeah.
And whenever we would go round, I would end up watching Star Wars or Lord of the Rings with him. But the earliest Star Wars I remember watching is Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So, for me, I don't know. I think with the Star Wars films, they kind of have this trend where, like, so when it was George Lucas doing them, they got better. As in, so like in the trilogy, they got better. And then sometimes you'll have a flop kind of thing. But I think that Phantom Menace, then Attack of the Clones, then Revenge of the Sith. Do you know what I mean? I think that with that trilogy, they did get better, but I don't know. I feel like Attack of the Clones was consistent with what it was, whereas Phantom Menace was really patchy as to where the good bits were. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he did have one of the best fight sequences ever filmed, though. You know what I mean? And Darth Maul, one of the best villains ever, and we barely know anything about him. Oh, he was that good that they didn't kill him.
Like, one thing that I wasn't really a big fan of, I wasn't a massive fan of how between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, all of a sudden you're supposed to know who Count Dooku is.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no explanation for Count Dooku whatsoever, but you're just meant to accept him as, okay, well, he's this film's villain. Do you know what I mean? When really you're like, oh man, why'd you have to kill off Darth Maul? You could have brought him over into Attack of the Clones.
Imagine if he's...
Imagine it.
Yeah, imagine if he stayed all the way through to the end.
Mate, imagine if Darth Maul was in the fight sequence in like the Colosseum setting. You know, when when the clones all turn up. Imagine if he was in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But these two for me, I feel like
they're interchangeable.
I feel like either one can go above the other one. I think they should sit next to each other.
Shall we put that at 5 then?
Really? I thought 7.
Alright, 7.
Yeah, there's no way that it's better than a lot of the films that are coming up. Alright, next. Return of the Jedi. My least favourite of the original trilogy.
I do like this one.
So that's what I mean when I said that with George Lucas's like original trilogy, the films got better in the sense of A New Hope was amazing, but then Empire Strikes Back, God tier, and then it's kind of hard to follow that.
Yeah,
and I think Return of the Jedi did a good job. I do think it did a good job of following it, but it's just not as good for me. Like, I prefer Empire.
I'd probably put this one at 4.
Okay.
I think it starts well, ends well.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not got any complaints about the film.
Yeah, it's a well-paced movie all the way through.
It's not as good as Empire.
Yeah. Empire Strikes Back, probably the most iconic film
number
ever
one,
made.
man.
Yeah, 100%.
It's number one, innit? I hope you're not even going to argue with me. All right, perfect. Yeah.
It's number one. Yeah.
Yeah, number one.
Like, I feel a lot of people probably wouldn't put Revenge of the Sith where it is, but I think for our generation, it kind of defines.
See, this is where I thought that Revenge of the Sith would slip a bit. I thought A New Hope for me would be above it, so I thought it would slide down, and
I'd put New Hope below it.
It's the film that it started them all.
I know it started them all, but like, if I'm gonna choose one to watch, it's mostly gonna be Revenge of the Sith. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, see, that's different because for me, if I'm gonna put a Star Wars film on, chances are I'm putting on A New Hope. Chances are I'm gonna put on A New Hope. Then I'm gonna watch Empire. Then I'm gonna watch Return of the Jedi.
Just leave on the table. I'm doing podcast at the minute. Sorry, what were you saying?
So if I go to watch Star Wars, I normally end up watching the original trilogy, and then I'll go and dip into whichever ones I fancy watching.
Yeah.
But I normally start with A New Hope. So that's why, for me, I would put A New Hope above Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But I can understand why you would put Revenge of the Sith above A New Hope.
For me, it's just the quotability of that film. Like, it's the dialogue's so bad it's good, but then the action's so good, it just levels it up even more. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's no denying that the action in the Revenge of the Sith is better than A New Hope.
It's like one of them. I feel like it's probably the only film that's done this. You know, like usually a film that's so bad it's good is usually a terrible budget or whatever, or just looks awful.
Yeah.
Like with that film, it's like
they're not trying. It's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
But they're not trying to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas Revenge of the Sith it's so bad it's good, but they were trying to be a good film in the first place.
Yeah, it's like it's a weird anomaly. Can't speak today.
I feel like I'll put it in 3 for you, but I feel like I'm committing a crime by putting A New Hope in number 3.
Nah, bro. Nah.
Alright, Solo, which I only watched for the first time 2 days ago, because I heard that the guy playing Han Solo had they apparently, this is just what I heard, it might not even be true.
I've heard the same
I might have been put off the film for no reason. Was that they started filming and then they were like, oh no, he's got to go for some acting classes. He had to go learn how to act. And
it's mad. I don't get how he got past the audition.
It took me so long to watch the film.
How the fuck did he get past the audition, man? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. The thing is, it might not even be true. I'm just going off of what I was told.
Personally, I've only watched this once.
Yeah, so for that reason, that put me off.
I've only watched this film once.
Well, I've only watched it once.
I really
enjoyed
it
recently.
Personally, I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it a bit more than Force Awakens. But I don't know where you'd put it on there.
Okay. I think I would put it above Attack of the Clones. I think I would slide those 3 down. And then Rogue One would be in the conversation for either above or below Solo, but it would be next to Solo in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know if it's above 2 and 1 though.
I really enjoyed it.
I did really enjoy it, but it wasn't.
Well, we know it's at least above Force Awakens, don't we?
It was more of a fun Disney film. I didn't feel like it was 100% like the Star Wars film I wanted, but I did really enjoy it.
It made me, but it did something that I wasn't expecting it to do. It made me want either a second one or like a Disney Plus show that comes off of Solo. It's got the same cast and everything. Yeah. It's a continuation of Solo, because I actually think that if they was to do a show on Disney Plus, it would work better than a Solo 2.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it did leave me wanting more. So
yeah, 100%.
I don't know. It's definitely above Force Awakens for me.
I think
I get what you mean about.
I find it hard to put above the 1 and 2 when it.
Right.
It's almost like a side story.
Yeah, it's tough when you've only seen it once as well.
Yeah. Right, this one. This is actually one of my favourites, but I know it's not like top.
I think Rogue One was great.
I don't think it's top tier, and I think for that final sequence alone, like that's one of the best like ending sequences in all the Star Wars films.
I remember getting goosebumps and everything.
Yeah, just seeing Darth Vader go through, and he's just.
I remember getting goosebumps when you see the lightsaber light up in the smoke. Oh,
he's just this unstoppable machine, and it's just like you.
Oh, it was good.
Thing is, like, I feel like you get like Vader's threatening throughout the original trilogy, but you don't see him like fuck up that many people.
Yeah, you never really see him in action.
Yeah, like he's more intimidating as a character rather than like he doesn't display his like killing abilities like he does in that final sequence. In that final sequence, it's like watching an alien film or something where they're just getting picked off one by one.
You know what it is? It's Darth Vader is so powerful and such a presence that he doesn't actually need to display how powerful he is. You just know.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show the issue with Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Because they showed him being powerful as hell a lot, but you still didn't take him seriously.
Yeah, because he's so whiny.
And you took Darth Vader seriously, where in the original trilogy you don't see him fight that much and everything, do you?
And the thing is, we're talking about this final scene, and it's not even the plot of the movie. It's just like a cool little extra bit at the end. Like I think it jumps about,
but it links it up to A New Hope really well.
I think it jumps about a lot at the start. Like it's quite disorientating at the start, but as soon as it gets to the bit where they get on Jeddah, I think it is. That's when it is really solid. It's I
never remember the name of the planets.
Yeah, it's like a war film from there. Do you know what I mean? It's like the gritty, like rebel stuff on the ground you don't see in any of the other films, and it kind of hits this angle.
My biggest issue.
Hang on, you.
Yeah, my biggest issue with it is the whole thing that throughout the film you just know everyone's gonna die because they're not in A New Hope.
But I love that.
Do you know what I mean? You're just like you know exactly what's coming.
Yeah. I mean, for the first time ever, though, like in a Star Wars film, no one survives, and I thought that was a really interesting part of it. I think this whole film is definitely five.
The Rise of Skywalker should have taken. The Rise of Skywalker probably should have learnt a lesson from Rogue One in the sense of you can kill characters off that people enjoy. Look at Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know Game of Thrones is based on books and everything, but the later seasons they moved away from it. You kill characters that we love, and somehow it makes us watch more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, if you got to kill them off at the right times, though. Do you know what I mean?
I actually think that Rogue One, and for the right reason.
Yeah. If you just killed off your whole cast,
you got to kill them off for the right reason as well.
Yeah.
But I do think that Rogue One sits quite nicely into number 5.
Yeah,
I think it sits well there. I wouldn't argue with it. I'm glad that the original trilogy is in the top 4.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Revenge of the Sith being as high as it is, but I'll accept it.
It's a banger.
I'll accept it. Surprise for me for Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi being the bottom 2. Like,
yeah.
oh, actually, come to think, I've only just realised that the newest trilogy is actually all 3 of the bottom films for us.
Yeah.
Even though The Force Awakens isn't a bad film, that's the thing. It's like when we did the Leonardo DiCaprio ones, where we're like, the ones at the bottom aren't necessarily bad films. Like, well, I mean, in this one, I'm not a fan of Rise of Skywalker or Last Jedi, but The Force Awakens being at the bottom there doesn't mean it's a bad film. It just means that it's not on the level that the rest are. There's probably people that would disagree with us, though. I think that there's people that would think that The Force Awakens should probably be above Episode 1 and 2.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Force Awakens...
But I think some people just hold on... Now, go on.
Force Awakens and Last Skywalker, for me, are, like, not the best... Like, they're not the best Star Wars films. They're just bad. Well, they're good films. They're just bad Star Wars films. And then Last Jedi is just a bad film. Full stop.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
As harsh as that
I
is.
get you. I get you. But I think that some people just hold on to this hatred of the prequels. I feel like everyone's supposed to hate the prequels.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But I love.
There's this thing that the. Yeah. No, I agree. Well, I think that's a good time to wrap it up. My camera just ran out of battery, so this is perfect timing for us to wrap it up.
No worries.
I thought the camera was fully charged.
This is just going to be
not.
Zoomed in on my face right now.
Well, yeah, it's going to have to be. But, yeah, I mean, I'm cool with the list of how we've got it. Obviously, it's difficult because we're 2 different people.
Yeah.
So we've got different opinions on it. So some of them are going to be in places where we might not agree with them. Like, I would have put Revenge of the Sith lower and Solo a bit higher. But no, I'm cool with the list as it is. Thanks for watching. Sorry if it seemed like Jack and I were interrupting each other quite a bit. I think the problem is the delay.
Yeah.
There's been quite a bit of a delay today, so that when I was watching you on the screen, you would not be saying anything, and then I would start speaking, and then you would start speaking, and I'm like, there's just the delay, so I wasn't like interrupting you or anything. It was just when the delay came through.
Oh no, yeah, okay. The internet's really
It's
bad.
just our internet today. Yeah, it's horrible today. But yeah, thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. Let us know in the comments what you think of our list, and if there's any that you disagree on. I'd even like to see people... I really want to see people start leaving comments that are like their 1 to 10 or their 1 to 11 of the order that they would have done it in.
Or suggestions.
That's the kind of stuff I want to start seeing.
Suggestions on what they want to see next. That'd be a good one as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've done a lot of film stuff at the moment, but I think we're definitely going to take a look into doing some other bits. It's difficult because we want to do like TV shows and stuff like that, but we've not seen a lot of the same TV shows. And like when we did the Leonardo DiCaprio one last week, I didn't like that I hadn't seen Blood Diamond and you hadn't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, I want it to be like everything in there we've seen.
Yeah.
So we'll probably end up doing like music, TV shows, all sorts of stuff. But yeah. Alright. That's it. Thanks again for watching.
Cheers.
Peace.